Hi, my name is Jayoza, and I help people succeed when they are speaking, whether it's one on one, in a small group, or in front of a large audience. Today, I want to talk about the third part of my Hack a Successful Speaking System. And this one is Hack a Performance. Yes, performance. Whenever you're speaking, you are performing. But it's not that simple. So I'm going to spend some time explaining this. But before I do that, let me step back a little bit and explain to you the first two parts briefly what they were. The first part that we have discussed in another video was hack a speech. So this is where you have a subject in mind and you need to hack a speech together. And based on what I went over, you should be able to do it in 90 minutes. And once you become good at it, it could even take you no more than 30 minutes. But let's say 90 minutes is roughly, you should be able to hack any kind of speech together. Then the second part of this hack a successful speaking system was hacking a message. Now, this may take a little bit longer because there are 5 steps here, and this is an iterative process, right? I follow the entrepreneurial philosophy that exists in Silicon Valley, which is iterate fast and release often. That's the philosophy I use when it comes to speaking because I consider speech as a product. So let's say we went through the hack a speech, hack a message, then comes the ultimate. You have to hack a performance. Now, this is something that has 3 parts to it, and you really need to understand them because a lot of people don't understand what a performance is. They tend to think like, well, I have to perform like an actor. Yes and no. You're using some of the techniques of an actor, such as controlling your voice, using good gestures, body language. But remember, I'm not an actor, and you're probably not an actor. An actor is a third party performer. When we are speaking, we are a first party performer. Actors try to create some reality in an entertaining way so that you can experience it. After that performance, when you meet an actor, you are likely going to be disappointed because the reality they're creating either in a movie or in a theater is over after it's done. Their real life is nothing like what they're doing on stage or in front of a camera. But when we are speaking, our reality is ours. We own it. So there is that difference that you do need to understand. Actors cannot do what we do as a speaker, and we as a speaker cannot do what an actors do because we are a first party performer. We're not a third party performer. If we're trying to be a third party performer, then we're basically becoming a fake, phony, and a fraud. Why should people trust us? When I say performance, it's not to fool people, it's to communicate your content in a message in a way that makes it easier for them to understand. So I just want to make it clear the difference in performance because a lot of this comes from the acting profession. Performing like an actor and performing like a speaker. So the first part has really 5 components to it, and some of it comes from the acting. One of them, of course, is the content and the message that you have created from hack a speech and hack a message. So you have to have a complete control of your content and the message. For an actor, that's not done by them, that's given to them. Script writers do that, screenplays, script writers. So they're given that. They don't have to worry about that. They just take that and create a reality based on their talent, okay? In this case, you are doing it. You're hacking a speech, you're hacking a message, and now you have it in a form where you want to deliver it. Okay, so that's the first part of hacking a performance, right? The second one is the voice. That's your tool. So I am using my voice. Now, I don't have an actor's voice. By voice, you need to practice this. Means that you want to present or deliver your content in a way that shows that you are in command, control, and have passion for the content that you're presenting. And that's where you have to use your voice. Now, you're not going to be able to turn your voice into an actor's voice. That takes years to develop. I don't have that time to turn my voice like Morgan Freeman. It's not even going to happen. He's born with it. I'm not. But that doesn't mean that I can't leverage my voice to communicate. I don't even know the technical terms like how many octaves I have and all of that. That's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. If I'm focusing on that, I'm kind of missing the big picture. The big picture is you want to communicate your content and the message that shows that you're in command, you're in control, and you have passion for the content you believe in. Okay, so that's the voice. So that's the second part. The third one is your body language. Now, again, here, actors really practice this. But from a speaker's point of view, you just want to make sure you don't have any kind of awkward body movement or a gesture that kind of impedes people from understanding your content. It shouldn't get in the way. It should actually help your content in the way you're using your body language and facial expression. If you're excited, show you're excited. If you're sad, so you got to use your facial expression, your gestures, your movement. It has to be consistent. There has to be that it has to be in congruence. The content, the voice, and the body language. They all have to work together. And this is what you're hacking when you have your content all ready. Now you have to integrate it with your voice, then you integrate it with your body language. Then we move to the fourth part. And this is the part I call controlled emotion. Remember, you're passionate about the topic, but still you want to be under control and you want to be under command. Command, I mean, you're on the stage. You have to look like you belong there. That's command. You don't want to look like you're being forced to give a speech, or you're not happy to be there, or you just can't wait to get the hell out of this off the stage as quickly as possible. No, you own the stage. You are in command. You're in control of the content, and you are going to be passionate about the content that you're delivering or the message that you're delivering. Okay? So there you have to control your emotion. If something is ticking you off, your emotion should be able to express that in a controlled manner. You don't want to go off the rails with your emotion. Then again, if you let that happen, it's stepping all over your content and your overall objective. So you got to know what your overall objective is. All of these tools are there to make it easier for the audience to understand. That's what the first part of this performance is. And this first part has these different attributes. And the last one of the first part, attribute of this first part, is authenticity. You are a first party performer. Actors have the talent to create authenticity of the person that they are playing. In your case, you have to be yourself. You have to bring out who you really are. You can't fake it. You can't be somebody that you're not. I am Jay Oza. I can't be somebody else. Otherwise, I am not giving an authentic performance when I'm speaking. So you got to be comfortable under your skin. Because if you're not, the audience will see it. Okay, so this is the first part of a performance. And a lot of these are somewhat similar to what an actor does. But again, like I said, we're not actors. Don't try to be an actor. There are a lot of books and YouTube videos try to tell you, try this, what an actor does. Do not. You are a first party performer and take some of the techniques that actors use. But at the end, the main thing is you are trying to communicate a message or content that you have that you believe in. Okay? And after your speech, you have to live with this. When actors perform, they don't live with the content or the message, whatever it's in their performance, they're done. Boom, they're done, and they're back to their, like us, who they really are. The second part of a performance is very important. And this is where I think a lot of people do not go farther. In a speech, you have to create a memorable moment. A memorable moment is when there's a change taking place. Like, let's say you gave your talk, you established your trust, you delivered your content, and you're trying to explain the message. Now you're changing so that audience can immediately see the change. And that change is the memorable moment that the audience will remember. Because up to this point, your subject could be kind of dry if it's research oriented, and now you are changing and personalizing it if something that you believe strongly in. That's the change that has to take place. So once you go from, let's say, sounding like, let's say, a businessman, for example, and now you shift it from being a businessman to being a telling a personal story on why you are a businessman. That's a change that you've just suddenly, that has taken place. And you're creating that memorable moment with a story, your personalized story. Or it could be humor, whatever. But there has to be that change that has to take place, and the audience has to see that change. Once they see that change, they are now suddenly paying attention because they notice something just changed. You went out of the mode that you were in. If you stay in that mode, you could deliver a good performance, but you did not create that change. Delta gets noticed when there's a change taking place. People notice change. They don't notice a better performance. They notice suddenly when something suddenly is changing. They will pay attention to that. So now the change takes place, and a person, I think, whose speech really follows the steps that I'm describing is Amy Cuddy's talk when she's talking about how your body language can affect your brain. If you watch that speech, up till 16 minutes, she is a professor explaining her research in an excellent performance up till 16 minutes. If that speech had ended right at that point after 16 minutes and said, okay, in conclusion, let me summarize what I've discussed, I believe that speech would have been ordinary. Nothing exceptional, just ordinary, because she commands that stage, she's in control, and she's passionate about her subject. So that would be the first part of the performance, right? The command, control, and passion part. But what she does after 16-minute mark is what makes her speech one of the best TED Talks given based on the views. I think she has over 30 million views. She personalizes it. She goes into her personal story. That was a change that takes place at the 16-minute mark that people notice that here's a confident professor. Remember, she's not some babe in the woods who just put on a TED stage to give a speech. She's a tenured Harvard professor who has given this speech many times in front of an audience. So this is nothing new to her, okay? That first 16-minute is in her element. But what she does now after the first 16-minute is to bring you back to how it all started when she had the terrible accident in a car that left her with a brain injury, and how she recovered, and then what she has gone through and what she sees other people going through. That is a memorable moment within her speech that elevates this performance to a next level. And then at the end of that memorable moment, she does something even more amazing that I call the signature moment, where she basically captures exactly what she's saying. She captures your attention, your heart, your mind, with the signature moment in that speech where she says, fake it until you become it. That is the third part of a performance, the signature moment. That is how that speech is defined. People talk about that speech as Amy Cuddy's fake it until you become it speech. That is a signature moment. That is what makes that speech so successful. It is so popular because she does not just perform, she creates a memorable moment and she creates a signature moment. So, if you want to understand what I'm saying with hacking a performance, Amy Cuddy's speech is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The first 16 minutes is an excellent performance. Boom. Professor who is a tenured professor who's communicating her research, that 16 minute is nothing extraordinary for her. That's in her element. What takes her out of her element is what she does after at the 16-minute mark, when she goes into her personal story. And then as she's ending that personal story, she creates that signature moment. Fake it until you become it. A terrific example of what I mean by hacking a performance. So if you want to hack a performance, these are the three things you have to do. You have to be under command, control, and be passionate of the content and the message that you're delivering. That's the first step. Second step is to create a memorable moment where there's a change, some kind of change has to take place that the audience can clearly see, that ties into why you are talking about that. What gives you the right to be on the stage telling me about this topic or subject? And then within that memorable moment, you have to basically, that you can take from hack a message, create a signature moment in that speech, and that's how your speech will be defined. So I hope this makes sense. I know it's a little complicated, and if you ever need help with this, give me a call and I can work with you on it, because otherwise you could hack a performance and it may not work. These two other parts of it are extremely important that puts your speech in a stratosphere. Okay? Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. And I want to know whether this is something you can use when you are speaking one-on-one, in a small group, or in front of a large audience. Thank you.